The news is breaking faster than I can keep up with it. And when two liars say something that I know is a lie, I want to flesh out the details for those who might not understand what's going on here. And it's confusing. Elon Musk is coming out and saying, look, we're cutting, DOGE is cutting spending. And people take that to mean like the proverbial we, like the Adam Schiff saying, when you say we, did you mean you? It's like, no, I meant like it's being done. Oh, so whatever. Elizabeth Warren just said no one elected Elon Musk at the same time as AOC saying it's a five-alarm fire. Nobody elected Elon Musk. Having an unelected billionaire, his own foreign debts and motives, raiding U.S. classified information is a grave threat to national security. This should be a nonpartisan issue. And then you got Kyle Griffin, who is another confirmed liar, talking about this. Do you know what's going on? My understanding is that Elon Musk is not accessing any confidential or classified information as relates to payments going out, but rather people are sort of misunderstanding when he's saying DOGE is making government more efficient and we are freezing these payments to these entities, hundreds of millions of dollars to these corrupt entities. The we is a proverbial and not Elon Musk accessing any classified info. Would you know what exactly is going on with that?
So two things. One, in my view, only the president can decide what is and isn't classified. So if the president's given somebody access to something, it's not classified, at least as to that person, because the president gets, there's this effort that was made evident by the prosecution of President Trump to say that the bureaucratic state, unelected officials, get to decide what is and is not classified, and even gets to keep it secret from the elected president of the United States. That's insane. We no longer have a constitutional republic, if that's the case. We have a deep state. We have an administrative bureaucratic state. We have a bureaucratic tyranny that is running our government and not the elected representatives, which is not a constitutional government. So I've never agreed with that at all. So that's where it's like that's Assange's point. That's partially Snowden's point. Secrecy is what tyrants rely upon. So the no more secrets mantra of Julian Assange was predicated on the only way tyrants succeed is with secrets. Take away secrets, you take away tyrants. And I think that there's good evidence and argument in that favor. So it reflects the whole mindset. It's like it's been so revealing that Democrats, that Selena Gomez and the rest are out there crying and bailing about these poor criminals that are being deported, so that's been educational to a lot of normies. Been like, oh wow, the Democratic Party really is completely in bed with illegal immigration and doesn't care that these violent criminal gangs are coming in, and they're crying over violent criminal gangs. The other people they're crying over foreigners in terms of tariffs. They're crying for Canadians. They're crying for Mexicans. They're crying for China. They're not crying for Americans whose jobs were lost and wages were stripped of them because of these bad trade deals that have been done in the past with countries like China and Mexico and Colombia and China and the World Trade Organization entrance and all that nonsense that Clintons and Bushes both facilitated. But on top of all of those components, they really believe these bureaucrats are like God's gift to the world. And you see it reflected in these administrative state lawsuits. State of New York says you can't decide what money is to be spent. The Biden has already authorized this money. So judicial branch, come to our aid and empower the bureaucratic branch to make these decisions. My favorite one, though, is the various government unions suing over President Trump's challenges to changes to Section F, which say, oh, no, we, the bureaucracy, wrote our own rules. And the elected head of the executive branch can't change those rules. We, the bureaucrats, get to determine whether we have to work at the office or not. We decide whether or not how many days we have to be in the office. We decide whether or not we want to retire or not. We decide whether or not where money gets spent. And it just shows the mindset of how insane it got. And you see the moral rage of the professional class Democrats that are making clear to everybody, we represent foreigners and bureaucrats and the deep state. That's it. They only represent foreigners, the bureaucrats, and the deep state. Even Zelensky's now ratting out the deep state, saying, most of that money they authorized, we actually didn't see much of it.
No, but remember when, I forget it was CBS News who had to retract their documentary saying how 70% of aid was not making it to the end.
Of course not. These are and what DOGE is exposing is all these politically motivated expenditures that were in excess. Like, I was curious when these suits were filed. I was like, are they alleging Trump is violating a constitutional provision? Are they alleging Trump is violating a specific congressional directive about legislative authority concerning the purse, because then they would have a claim. They're not claiming either one. They're claiming that their own regulatory agency rules overrule the elected head of the executive branch. They're not claiming constitutional or congressional authority for their lawsuits. They're claiming that they get to dictate their own terms and conditions. What has happened, and this is being detailed by some data researchers online, I think one of them is even called Data Republican or Data Researcher or something like that. And he's helping out DOGE and the rest. And what they're figuring out is money's being spent that was never specifically authorized or approved by Congress. Sometimes it is being spent in direct contradiction to Congress's directives. And last but not least, it's being used to prop up a huge political machine. That's what's, when you dig into all these NGOs, you dig into all these grants, you dig into all the way the money is spent in academia and nonprofits around the world, it's basically just a Democratic political machine. The reason why AOC is going nuts, because her true friends aren't the ones working in the factory or working as a bartender or working as a barista. It's people working in the entire apparatus of government contracts. That's what they're doing. Democrats just took the political machine of Tammany Hall and made it global. Bill Clinton specialized in this. He specialized in the Clinton Foundation at capitalizing and enriching himself off of it. But that's what they're discovering with these contracts. I think even Trump was shocked that we're spending money to get condoms to the Palestinians.
No, it was Gaza, Mozambique. So
even Mozambique, why are we spending a bunch of money to give condoms to foreigners? What I mean, what are we doing?
It was the misunderstanding, and it's quite understandable. I don't think people knew there was a Gaza, Mozambique. They were giving however many millions of dollars in condoms. People are like, it's not 50 million, it's only 10. They're giving millions of dollars in condoms to Gaza, Mozambique.
And most of that is not going to end users. What you will discover is that most of it's going to the professional managerial class. It's the way the welfare state is designed. The welfare state is designed to hire 5 bureaucrats to feed 1 poor person.
What it did realize is that Hamas uses condoms for terrorist purposes. You go back and look this up. They would use them, fill them with helium, and use them to carry explosive incendiary devices wherever it may land. I guess condoms are better than balloons because they're that much lighter. Also, if they're being given to you for free, take them. But this was Gaza, Mozambique. People are just realizing how the rest of the world is pilfering off of America, and it might be coming to an end. Whether people
a huge amount of money to employ people and get money to Democrats. That's really all it was. The Democrats and the deep state. Those were the 2 groups getting all the money. That's why they're going berserk. That Trump's all of a sudden saying, let's take a look at this. Before we spend it, he even hasn't said don't spend it. He has simply said, before we spend it, let's make sure it's actually constitutional and congressionally authorized. Because some of this was like he's taking U.S. aid, putting it under the State Department. It's like, no more of these separate little deep state pockets and Democratic pockets of cash and power. That's what he's learned, and that's why they're going berserk. They're going berserk not because the end user is going to be denied a benefit they need. That isn't realistically going to happen. It's because their bureaucratic, self-enrichment political machine, parasitically taking from the prosperous side of American society to line their pockets and empower themselves at the expense of the American people, is going to come to an end under President Trump.
Let me refresh because I can't seem to share the screen anymore. Hold on. I am back right now. I want to show, as you mentioned this, I want to bring this tweet up from Chris Pavlovsky in real time. Chris just tweeted out, prediction, Elon Musk's DOGE is going to uncover, he's going to piss people off by calling it Elon Musk's DOGE. It's President Trump's DOGE. Elon Musk was never elected. Yeah, okay. Elon Musk's DOGE is going to uncover an unprecedented amount of fraud and corruption in numerous government departments. Everyone should buckle up. It's going to be the best show on earth.
Oh, because it's massive. It's systemic. It's 2 things. It's a deep state Democratic Party money laundering. And secondly, they never do it. They never actually follow the law in the way they do it, right? So that's why I've often said follow the money is the way to get rid of a lot of the corruption of the deep state and that the Democratic Party has tried to do. And then the second layer of that is getting rid of the personnel so that they can't abuse their positions of power to derail the elected head of the executive branch from delivering on what the American people want. Like these dimwits are yipping on their little Reddit discussion boards, their other discussion. They're admitting they are out to sabotage President Trump on a daily basis. That's why they're getting fired. And then that they're panicking because President Trump is delivering this time at removing the institutional obstacles to getting through what the American people want done, which is no more of this ridiculous spending and on these ridiculous things, and no more abuse of power by the unelected bureaucrats. And that's what DOGE is doing, what the president was elected to do.